Hello, everybody. Railsplitter Athletics Report. I am your host, Rusty Peace, and if my eyes right now look like road maps, well, that's because it was a late night on Wednesday. Lincoln Memorial University men's and women's basketball teams over in Hickory, North Carolina. Lady Railsplitters winning one in a tight battle, 69-66, to emerge 4-2 on the season. The Railsplitters going through what has been termed as a marathon game, winning a 4-overtime victory against Lenoir-Rhyne. 123-122. It's the longest game ever in LMU men's basketball history, and it puts the Railsplitters at 5-1 on the season, as they are now ranked number 15 in the latest NABC poll that was released Tuesday afternoon. Arguably, the LMU men's and women's basketball teams combined are off to their best season starts combined in recent memory. The Lady Railsplitters at 4-2, while the Railsplitters are 5-1, both undefeated in conference play. And we're going to take a time out and talk with both coaches right after this. Stay with us.
Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Subway of Harrigan and Middlesboro has your fresh interest at heart. On your way to work, try one of our mouth-watering breakfast sandwiches or flatbread omelets. If it's lunch or dinner you're after, choose from a wide selection of classic, select, or premium sandwiches that are all made specifically to order. Serving a crowd, Subway also has sandwich planners, giant subs, box lunches, and even cookie platters. Be it dine-in or carry-out, you can eat healthy and eat fresh at Subway. 368 Catawba Avenue in Harrigan and on the corner of the Village Square Mall, Middlesboro. If you love your car or truck, let us help you keep it clean at Soapy J's. Soapy J's has unlimited wash plans to fit every budget. Try our $5 express wash or one of our 3 monthly wash plans. The Wheel Deal, the Soapy J, or the new Blast Wax. With our monthly wash plans, if you pay with credit card, all you do is pay for the present month and your card will be billed on the first of each month. Don't forget, Soapy J's has free vacuums with any wash. Soapy J's Express Car Wash, open 7 days a week. Let us help keep your car or truck clean at Soapy J's. Soapy J's on the Cumberland Gap Parkway, Middlesboro. Institutional case good or architectural woodwork. Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 Forsyth Street Northeast, Knoxville.
Another successful week for the Lincoln Memorial University women's basketball team. They're now on a 4-game win streak, 4-2 on the year, 2-0 in South Atlantic Conference play. And Coach, I'll tell you, this has been a complete turnaround. We've started taking a little better care of the basketball. We're battling from behind. I like the intestinal fortitude that I'm seeing from this team. They never give up, and as a result, it's paid off for them with 4 straight wins.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. I'd like to be in a position where we're actually in the lead at some point in the game, other than the last, probably minute to 2 minutes of the game. We tend to take the lead around that time. But again, I'll take a win any chance I can get one.
Well, we've got a couple here this past week that have been really quality wins. I think, when you look at the record of Carson Newman, they were undefeated. They were ranked number 20 nationally. We bring them into our house and we battle from behind again. We take a victory. We knock off a University of the Cumberland's team that was undefeated as well, and again came from behind to do it. We go to Lenoir-Rhyne on Wednesday. We trade the leads back and forth with them throughout the contest, but in the end, 69-66. And I look at these games and say, well, it's great to have won 4 straight, but as we were talking prior to going on the camera, we could very easily be 6-0 right now.
We could. But as far as, Carson Newman winning that game, it's a big rivalry, and so obviously that's a big deal to the girls. Cumberland's, obviously I wasn't as familiar with that team. They got some new players since when we scheduled them last season, and they matched up really well with us, and that was a good, very good win with us. But as far as Lenoir-Rhyne, I think that meant more to the girls. Not that the other ones didn't, so don't take me wrong, but Lenoir-Rhyne is one of 2 teams last year that beat us twice. we were able to split, if not win both of them, against every other team in the conference. But Lenore Ryan and Anderson beat us twice. And so the girls were just really more pumped up for this game, a little bit more on fire for this game. And it just meant more to them just to say, okay, we were able to go to LR and knock them off.
Now, you're around your team every day, so I don't really know how you see it. But from my standpoint, I've watched them play 4 games or so right now, maybe 3 or 4. But I see their confidence level each time they step out on the floor growing every game that they take the court.
Well, I would agree. LR really did a good job focusing on our inside game with, they did a good job focusing on Megan Pittman and Josie Harding. And so we weren't able to capitalize in the paint as much as we have been, in the past. So our guards did an excellent job of attacking the basket, and we got a lot of production out of our guard play. And I think that only at the end of the game, it had only given us a boost of confidence that, we are a very well-rounded team. We can score inside, we can score outside, and our guards really did a great job of stepping up last night.
Yeah, I think that, while Lenore Ryan may have done a pretty good job of focusing on the inside play, I don't think they shut us down by any means. I mean, we didn't have a huge night inside, but when you look at the final totals, I mean, Pittman, Josie Harding, very close to what they averaged offensively and from a rebounding standpoint. What I really liked, though, is when they got frustrated in there, you saw Shea Coker come out of that slump that she's been in. She showed a lot of confidence. She stopped trying to shoot the three-pointer, stepped inside the perimeter a little bit, hit the mid-range jumper, and as a result was one of our players of the game. Brittany Guy, though, in my opinion, was the X factor in that win on Lenore Ryan Wednesday night because she came in and was really the difference maker down the stretch.
She was. I mean, Brittany's just a hard guard to defend. She can shoot the three. She can also attack the rim. She can. She's got a nice pull-up jumper. So I mean, she's got all the factors that you would want as far as scoring-wise for a guard to have. Also, she plays very solid defense. As she picked up a couple steals for us on the defensive side of it as well. So Brittany had a great game, and again, we were fortunate that she stepped up and was the huge force in the second half.
It's scary to think, this team has won 4 straight. They could be 6-0. They're not. They're 4-2. But when they get Courtney Cox up to full speed, who's still trying to get acclimated to the recovery from that injury to her wrist, the surgery that she had, as you mentioned in one of the pre-games not too long ago, still having a hard time snapping that wrist the way she needs to in order to make free throws and some shots in the field, yet she's finding a way to get involved in the offense, and we know what we're going to get from her defensively.
Oh, definitely. I mean, she's relentless on rebounding. That's why I love the kid. I mean, she just is going to get in there like a crash dummy. She just throws her body into anybody, and she's going in there as hard as she can to get those rebounds. But if you noticed, even in her play against LR, every point that she scored was just a very difficult point. I mean, the ball's not coming off her hand as smooth as it was last season before the injury, and she's having, a hard time scoring. So she's basically using that backboard as best she can and getting them to go in, but she's literally just outworking people. And once she gets a little bit more range of motion with her wrist, I think she's going to be back to 100%, and hopefully that'll be coming around and fairly soon. Is what we're hoping for.
Coach, you made the statement to me before we went on camera that you just kind of wanted one easy game this year, just one, I'm going to tell you that's why we pay you the $7.5 million a year that you get. You got to deal with these tough games. But, hey, on a serious standpoint, there's just really not any weak games, whether it's men's, women's play in this league. It's just getting better and better and more tightly knit each year from a competitive standpoint. And that said, that makes a very difficult job for you and your coaching staff each time that you hit the floor.
Well, there's been a lot of games that, from a fan's perspective, have been great games. But from a coaching perspective, I would like to have less gray hair, and I'd like to, get not as many wrinkles as I'm getting right now, and the stress level to be down somewhat. But again, I'm happy with being able to pull out a victory any chance that I can get one. They're great games from a fan perspective. As a matter of fact, I mean, we were just mentioning earlier, the men's game was the best game I've seen ever. On a college level, and but again, from a fan perspective, I'm sure Josh was stressed to the max, and I would love to be in a situation where, we're up by a considerable amount and you can go deep in your bench and have that easy game. But that's not realistic. Our conference is so strong and we're even. I mean, across the board, it's going to be a battle every night.
Well, Josh Schertz is solely responsible for the gray hairs that I have in my head right now. You're going to make me a cotton top before it's over with. Coach, let's get to the subject at hand. Obviously, you've got Coker in this next battle, and this is going to be a tough one for you and your team. They are coming to the Tex Turner Arena. It's good to have them here on the home floor because that trip to Hartsville, South Carolina, whether you're coming from Hartsville to Harrogate or Harrogate to Hartsville, any way you do it, it's a long trek, and that's going to work against them to a certain point. But I think that it's good that we have them on our home floor in the first meeting.
Well, Coker is a great team. One of the players that I'm really focused on is Jazz Green. She's a new addition to this team this year. She's averaging a double-double, and she's a 5'7" guard. Matter of fact, she had one game, I believe, where she either had 16 or 17 rebounds. So that's obviously somebody that we've got to key in on, and she's doing an excellent job for them, and she's going to create some matchup problems for us. Coker, they're a good team. They look to penetrate. They got some shooters on the team. They're very balanced. So it's going to be another battle for us come Saturday.
Well, obviously, the battle is just another step in that road to what we hope to be a South Atlantic Conference regular season title. When you look at some of the other teams throughout the league and some of the victories they've had, obviously there's a lot of teams with a lot of early season success, but being 2-0 right now in South Atlantic Conference play, basically 4-2 in the region, well, let's not count the University of Cumberland's game. I mean, you're putting yourself and this team in position to, at least for the time, to still be thinking, hey, SAC regular season title, possibly a SAC tournament title, NCAA tournament appearance.
Well, I mean, that's obviously, when you start the season, I mean, those are always your goals. I was telling the girls just last night before the LR game, obviously we want to win the conference. Every team in the conference wants to win the conference. But, our focus right now is just being better each and every game. And also, too, as you're fully aware of, last year we were not very good playing on the road. So each road victory that we're getting, we understand that we're maturing as a team and we're getting better as a team. And that's something that we're focused on. So right now, we were able to go to Lees McRae and still a game there, and we were able to go to LR and still a game there. So we're starting to be able to close out some games on the road, and that's going to be crucial for us when it comes to conference.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you the best of luck against Coker. We're going to be glad to have you back here in the Tex Turner Arena, and certainly we're looking forward to that contest, so best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Krystal Evans and the Lady Railsplitters taking on Coker, and we're going to take a time out here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. We're back with more right here on the LMU Sports Network.
Established in 1982, Dixie Roofing Incorporated of La Follette has been the industry's leader in commercial roofing throughout Knoxville, Tennessee, and surrounding counties for more than 30 years. From medical facilities to office buildings and educational institutions, Dixie Roofing has the experience, expertise, equipment, and know-how to handle roofing needs of any commercial structure, big or small. Dixie Roofing is also on the web at www.dixieroofing.com. Dixie Roofing Incorporated.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
The Railsplitters are now 5-1 on the season after victories this week over non-conference opponent UVA Wise at home in the Tex Turner Arena, and most recently on the road over in Hickory, North Carolina against the Bears of Lenoir-Rhyne University. It also puts the Lincoln Memorial men at 2-0 in South Atlantic Conference play. And Coach, I know that while the one on Saturday might have come a little easier, Wednesday's evening's win over the Bears was nothing to sneeze at, and it was not an easy task.
No, we knew it was going to be a really difficult game. We have a lot of respect for them. They're one of the better teams in the country. Like I said, nationally ranked 15 in one poll, and they're better than that. They're just outstanding players, well coached, difficult environment to play in. Thought they had a great crowd, great energy. Really was proud of our guys and for how they competed and performed in really difficult circumstances and under a lot of pressure. And told my guys, and I told Ryan, Lenoir-Rhyne's coach of the game, just how much respect I have for all the guys that played in that game, because that was an unbelievable fight to see kids going out and just competing, and both teams. I mean, but they're down 20 and come back. We lose a 20-point lead. We're down in the overtime. And just everybody had to kind of punch back, and we would get up big and they would come back. It was just a great college basketball game, and really boiled down to, they made a big play to go up one, and whoever had the ball last, it seemed like was going to win, and we were fortunate that that was us. And Jarrell Simmons made a huge play, and coming off he made a three in the waning seconds there to tie the game in regulation, and then he makes the game winner with 3 seconds left in the fourth overtime.
Yeah, it was a game of a lifetime so far for me. I mean, you're talking about 4 overtimes, something that a Lincoln Memorial men's basketball team has never done. And in this case, we were the winners. I can go back to the last time LMU had a point total that was even remotely close to that, and probably in 3 overtimes back in the 80s. So I said, I think, to Dorian Pinson in the postgame that I felt like last night's atmosphere was almost a carbon copy of what we saw over in Bristol against King. And, this time I thought the Railsplitters handled that pressure a lot better.
Yeah, there's a big part of, I wanted to see how we would respond to that. I thought it was good. And you and I discussed this, I think, on the radio show Monday. Part of being if you want to be a championship team, you better be able to go and do your job in very difficult circumstances, i.e. the road with a great crowd on top of you and screaming and yelling the whole time, and against a great team, and then perform and do your job under pressure, where a minute to go, tie game, or whatever, 2 minutes to go, tie game, or you're down or you're up or whatever. So we've come a long way in 3 weeks from a lot of standpoints, and a lot of things to take from that and build on in terms of how much, obviously, guys care. I mean, we had guys that couldn't walk to the bus that we really had to literally help onto the bus, kind of carry out of there, and guys were cramping up on the way back and just obviously left it all out there. And I'm sure Lenoir-Rhyne has the same situation. Just incredibly proud of them and the mental toughness that we showed to kind of continue to fight. And I would have felt that way. We won by 1 point. Had we lost by 1 point, I really would have felt the same exact way about the game and my team and Lenoir-Rhyne's team. And so the key now, obviously, is to, as always, put that in the rearview mirror, learn from it. We did some really good things. I didn't think we played extraordinarily well. We competed exceptionally well. But we got to learn from some things, get better, and get on to Coker, because it's an unforgiving league, as you know. So you better step up and be ready for your next turn at bat, and we got to do that by learning from this, putting it behind us, and then Coker's a 1-game season for Saturday.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to be schmatzered. But let's go and talk about game atmosphere for a minute. Years ago, Coach, one thing that Lincoln Memorial had in its favor whenever an opponent came to the holler, as we used to call it then, over here in Democrat Holler, where Mars Gym used to be, was the sheer volume of the game itself in that venue, how close the fans were to the floor, the energy that was collected through all of the attendance there, primarily Railsplitter attendance, and with the Tex Turner Arena, it's more of a spread out situation. You're further away from the floor. It's a larger venue, so we have that in some cases working to our advantage. But in a situation like Schuford Gymnasium or over at King at their facility in Bristol, very loud venues. And when you get the energy of the student body combined with a large crowd in and of itself, I mean, it makes for a great atmosphere that's got to be somewhat of I guess, an advantage in terms of the factors for the home team.
Yeah, I thought, when you look at it, I think two things make for a great, home court advantage. One is really good players, because you could have a great atmosphere, and if your players stink, that's not going to help you at all. But the second piece of that is great energy in the building, And I would say that I love Textron Arena. It's a gorgeous building. It's huge. It's probably one of the nicest buildings on our campus, and certainly a major. Our guys are very fortunate to get to play in there on a daily basis. But in terms of creating that energy, we could get a crowd of 2,000 like we had for Carson Newman, but it doesn't feel like, because it's spread out, and even at 2,000 it's only 40% full, and it's not, a lot of people are sitting up or high. You can sit wherever you want, and people tend to want to sit up, and so it's harder to generate that type of energy that you see at I would say obviously Lenoir-Rhyne. I would say Coker has that. I would say certainly King had that. Newberry, Holt Fieldhouse, Carson Newman could get 800 in there, and it sounds like there's 8,000 because they're on top of you, kind of like Mars is, and the acoustics in the gym really hold the noise well. So there's some very difficult places to play. Ours, we've had really good players, but it's hard, even though we have great support from a crowd, it's hard to get the same type of energy that you have at those places due to the sheer size of our facility.
I think Scott Erland and I probably have the responsibility of trying to get that student body as amped up as we can, and I think that's something that we're going to have to visit here soon, because he has a close working relationship with most of the student athletes and knows most of them on a first name basis. But in terms of the promotions of things, we're going to have to work together and see what we can do about this to get it going, as we've seen on the road. All right, let's talk about the upcoming game. Of course, Dan Schmatzer and his team, they're typical. They're going to come in here revved up, ready to go. They've got a pretty good record going on right now, and they're ready to play.
Yeah, one loss this season. I mean, geez, like I said, play a 6-0 Lenoir-Rhyne team, followed up with a 5-1 Coker team. It's what you get in the South Atlantic Conference, particularly this year. You get the best league in the country, and it's the best because you're having to do what we do on a nightly basis. You get Carson Newman, you get Lenoir-Rhyne, now you get Coker, and it just goes from here. So Dan's team is a very typical Coker team. We've now played them for 2 years. I think they play as hard and as tough as anybody in the league. We played 2 really kind of brutal games with them last year. They're incredibly physical. It's a very different type of game, very different style than what we saw with Lenoir-Rhyne. They're more physical, more athletic. They don't, thank God, shoot the ball as well as Lenoir-Rhyne does. But it's every time you hook up with them, they're going to be physical. They're going to be very sound defensively. They're going to run good stuff. They got one of the better players in the league, maybe one of the better forwards in the league, in Dante Samuels. They got a great point guard in Trey Marshall. It's going to be very challenging, and then obviously you factor in the coming off 4 overtimes, the travel, all that stuff. A very short turnaround time for our guys to get mentally ready to play and also physically.
Throw into that, we don't really know the status of Curtis Webb right now, arguably your best defensive guard on the perimeter.
No question. Donnie, that's why people always wonder, trainers and stuff, those guys are certainly huge parts of our team. Those guys get these guys ready to play. I'm sure Donnie's in there working on Kurt right now, rehabbing him. It's one of the guys who have some nicks and bruises. And then we got a bunch of ice baths later today. Donnie will be full at work. We won't be practicing, and he'll be doing his job to kind of rehab our guys, watch some film and walk through some stuff. But Donnie's going to be running the show today, as he does every day.
Clearly the battle with Dan Schmatzer and his team is going to be a tough one. Coach, I know I just want to pass along to you before we close out this segment. The response that I had from Wednesday night's game from the fans that were watching through the LR Sports Network and listening through the LMU Sports Network was just phenomenal. Everybody that I've talked to felt like one of the most exciting games they've ever been fortunate to witness, and in my entire time of following Lincoln Memorial University basketball, I've never seen anything like it.
No, it was great to be a part of. I think we were all fortunate, and just unbelievable from both teams. Great competitors, great game, finished in a miraculous way, and happy to be a part of it.
Coach, best of luck against Cobras.
Thanks, Russ.
All right, Josh Schertz and his team take the floor against the Cobras at 4 p.m., and we'll be right there with them for pregame coverage. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about a little bit more. Stay with us on the Railsplitter Athletics Report and on the LMU Sports Network.
The Old Town Grill is a special place where you bring more than family, more than friends. Bring a hearty appetite, because at the Old Town Grill, you'll never walk away hungry. A delicious change from the ordinary. The perfect place to bring the entire family. The best food and plenty of it. Join the fun and treat your appetite to something special.
It's the OTG.
The OTG is the place to be.
Join the Vive Broadband TV revolution. Vive gives you the freedom to choose with loads of new channels like Up TV, The Hub, The Blaze, and Cubo. Vive's Watch TV Everywhere feature gives you the freedom to watch participating channels just about anywhere, anytime, on any device. And Vive Broadband Speed gives you the freedom to power internet TV services like Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, and Google Chromecast. Join the TV revolution at vivebroadband.com.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. You get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
Special thanks to Krystal Evans and Josh Schertz for joining me on tonight's show. Don't forget, both teams will be in action this coming Saturday at home in the Tex Turner Arena as they'll play host to the Cobras from Coker College. 2 o'clock tip-off for the women, 4 o'clock tip-off for the men. We'll have pregame coverage on the LMU Sports Network beginning at 1:40 on LMU Community TV and, of course, on our radio station, the flagship station on the radio end, WLMU 91.3 FM. As well, don't forget that the LMU men will be at home on Wednesday night when they take on Bluefield College. That'll be here in the Tex Turner Arena. That is a single game, and we'll get underway. I believe it's 7 o'clock, so pregame coverage for that one at 6:40 through the LMU Sports Network. We certainly want to thank you for watching tonight's show, and don't forget to keep up to date on all that's going on with Lincoln Memorial University Athletics. You can pull up the LMU Athletics website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. You'll find all the latest scores, facts, statistics, player profiles, rosters, schedules, news releases, photographs, videos, and much more. That's the LMU Athletics website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. That's about all the time we have for tonight. Until next week, I'm Rusty Peace. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, this Saturday, LMU men's and women's basketball at the Tex Turner Arena, 2 and 4 o'clock. So, thanks again for watching. Good night until next week.